Hi folks, it's Sunday the 10th of February, early morning here in Thailand. So I'm just going to start with these two extra markets that I was looking at, thanks to Gavin who pointed these out to me. And if you've got any ideas yourselves, please do send them in, because it does, well, helps me for a start, spot some opportunities. We've got the trend line moving averages, as you can see, support down here at around, well, 129.00, call it 129.10.00. We got down to 128.85, so if you were buying it down there, they look quite good. On Friday we managed to hold the 23.6% fib at 129.28. So as I said, that low 29.00 area should be good support, and if this is the bull flag that we think it is, then when we finally break above the trend line up around in the low 130 area, by which time you'll already be up potentially 100 pips anyway, then that will start the next move higher. So we can just trade within that channel until we get a breakout, which, if I was guessing, will be to the upside. Swedish krona trade was a belter. Even if you were short with a stop and then reversed into a long, the profit potential is absolutely huge on this one. Where was the trend line? 91.14. Sorry, 91.40, and we got up to 92.70-ish. So been a good run. Now we're getting a bit overbought. We're certainly overbought in the short-term charts. So what I'd love to see is a retracement back towards the trend line around 9.15. That would be nice. 9.20, 9.15. Then we could get into a long there and see if it holds, and hopefully then we really take off. I mean, this has got real good upside potential. We've travelled sideways for an awfully long time, many months. And so if this should be a continuation pattern. So the fact that we broke higher eventually isn't a surprise, and that does mean we've got significant moves to the upside on this. So as I say, if we're lucky enough to get a pullback, you want to be jumping in around 9.20, 9.15. Aussie dollar, we had a really nice short up here around 72.85.95. I thought that this level would hold on the downside, at least on the first test at 91, around 91.75, 91.65. Just looked really strong, and we were in a bull trend, but it unexpectedly broke. We had a real big down day. What was that? That was Wednesday, when we lost nearly 150 pips. And since then we've just continued lower. So this does look negative, having broken that support level around 91.75, 91.65. Aussie looks like it's going to continue weaker against the dollar this day. Monthly chart, that's probably a bit too far out. Let's have a look at the weekly chart. Weekly chart is just, well, we're in a bear trend. Clearly we're in a bear trend. We have been since the beginning of 2018. So I guess we have to just stick with that trend. And certainly after last week's price action, it does look pretty negative. Weekly chart on the New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar. You can see the New Zealand dollar collapsed last week, and we did reject these moving averages, which I suspected we would do. We didn't really get close enough to get the short on. I don't know whether you managed to jump in early. We didn't get close to the 500-day moving average, that's for sure. Anyway, we're getting a little bit tangled up in these sideways moving averages. Sideways moving because, of course, we've only really trended sideways for the last 2 months, which is unfortunately the same kind of thing in many forex pairs. Driving me mad, if I'm honest. I want to see some direction, something I can get on and actually run something for a day or two. Again, Wednesday, big move down alongside the Aussie dollar and the New Zealand dollar. Not very clear picture, if I'm honest. I'll try and pick out some decent levels, but we've got 67.22 down here. Well, 100-day moving average, 68.1% fib. I can't say it's the best trade I've ever seen, but it did hold. Dollar yen's a bit messy. We are in a 1-month bull trend, I suppose, after this crazy day when we spiked down on the 3rd of January. But since then, sort of up and down. I can't make much of this chart. I really can't. The levels aren't particularly working either. So sideways all of last week. Yeah, I'm going to leave it. I really don't know what's going on with the dollar yen. I'm leaving the euro yen as well. I've got no idea with that. The yen seems to go through periods when I really know what's going on, and then goes through other periods when I absolutely haven't got the faintest idea what's going on. And unfortunately, at the moment, it's the latter. Right, this is the euro versus the US dollar. I might as well just open this up because this is all that's relevant. Since November, we've just gone sideways. We seem to have weeks when we just go in one direction, and then the following week we just reverse it. And obviously last week was down every day, just wiping out the gains from the last week of January. What do you make of that? We're just going sideways, aren't we? You know, okay, so in theory we should have some support around this low at 12.86, trend line at 12.73, so the 12.85 12.75 area should be support. I mean, for all I know, we can just turn around and win back all of last week's losses. It seems to be the pattern as you go back over the last 2 months. You know, there's clearly no trend really that we can follow. I like this red 200-week moving average, which has provided some support, almost like a rounding bottom. That's around 113.27. We got to 113. What did we get to on the low on Friday? 113.28. So it's possible we could reverse from this 200-week moving average and head higher next week. Certainly possible. Get much below 113.00. Well, we've got that 112.85.75 area that's support, and then below there we've got 112.15. I mean, it's just a case of moving in and out of the levels, really, isn't it? That you can't hold a position for long. Dollar headed higher against the Canadian dollar last week. Dollar was very strong last week. We found good support down here at the 130.40 area. Now, we didn't quite get low enough to actually hit that area. I don't know whether you managed to jump into along. I think I did warn you about this support level. So it's obvious why we did rocket from there on a technical basis anyway. Now we're back up through the 100-day moving average. So you can see how nicely we traded between the 155-day moving average previously. I wonder if that will be the same situation now. I think that's worth watching. Watch that sort of on the downside 132.20 area, 132.20.30, and then 133.50.60, and then if we get up through 133.75, that should be bullish, of course, but maybe we'll just trade within these moving averages again. Just a theory, like we did before. Gold, definitely one of my more favourite markets. Recently, we've had some direction. We've managed to catch these moves, I do believe. So 13.24.26 was our sell level. That was really nice. We caught the exact high. Last week we tumbled. Let me just have a look at the daily chart. So yeah, we tumbled. We had some support levels which held initially, and then we got down as low as 13.02. I think the levels on the chart were working. We've had a bounce back now to 13.15.16, which I think I had as a level on Friday as well. Anyway, gold is definitely worth looking at. We can move in and out of gold quite nicely, and most of the trades have been winners, so I'm sticking with that. Yeah, we had 12.98. I do believe I had that as a support level. Anyway, okay, so just keep an eye on the gold report. It's a great scalping market, but when I say scalping, you know, we've been able to move in and out sometimes with 10 points profit on gold, so it's been really a good market. Silver actually not too bad either. I thought we'd get a little bit higher. I thought we'd test the 500-day moving average before we reversed, but we reversed with gold. And the 23.6% fib has been good support, which was as expected. If you were buying down there, we had a good bounce on Friday. Not much to see on the weekly chart other than the fact that, oh yes, we've got the 100-week moving average and the 200-week moving averages up there, which is another reason why I thought we would reverse, and reverse we did. So at the moment, a little bit negative outlook for gold and silver. Oil, WTI Crude, has been tricky. I thought this was an inverse head and shoulders pattern, but it was not, and we've turned lower. Now below the 23.6% fib at 52.60. If you really want to have a guide as to what's going on with this market, there you go, it's the 4-hour chart you want to be looking at. We've got this channel that seems to be working quite well. Let me try and expand that a little bit. There we go. Stick those trend lines on your 4-hour chart for WTI Crude and follow those. It does seem to be working going back to January, so the last 4 weeks. So you can see we peaked up there beginning of February, and we trended down to the lower trend line. That seems to be holding. So the question is now, do we turn back up to 53.40, 53.90, and if we get above 54.30, we could be up testing 55, 50.60 with the upper trend line there at 56.20, 56.30. Those would be the levels that you want to watch on any recovery. Clearly, break below, well, let's say a break below 50. What's this low? This little spike low was tricky, wasn't it? We spiked 30 pips below the trend line. So if we break below 51.80 this week, that should be your sell signal. That should indicate that we're going to go lower. 50.90 would be the first stop. Let's just go back to the daily chart. Okay, so I think I said 50.90, and we've also got some support down at 50.70, 50.50. So that would be the area where we would most likely head to on a break below this this channel.